Fireball Cinnamon has a reputation that arrives before the bottle even opens. For some people, it's chaos in liquid form. For others, it's the spark that turns a quiet night into a story. This review isn't here to judge your past decisions. It's here to judge the drink itself. What Fireball actually is, why it tastes the way it does, why Americans keep buying it in staggering numbers, and whether it deserves the loyalty, the hate, or something in between. 1. What Fireball really is, not what people think it is. Fireball doesn't behave like whiskey, and that's the first thing most people get wrong. The label says cinnamon whiskey, but the experience tells a different story. This is a flavored spirit built for impact, not contemplation. It's engineered to hit fast, register immediately, and leave an impression strong enough that nobody forgets it 5 minutes later. That's not an accident. That's design. From the first pour, Fireball announces itself with sweetness before your brain even has time to object. Cinnamon candy notes jump out immediately, followed by a heat that feels more theatrical than aggressive. It doesn't creep up slowly. It makes an entrance. The alcohol presence is there, but it's masked, wrapped in sugar and spice so tightly that it almost feels secondary. That's why people underestimate it. The burn arrives late, usually after the swallow, once the sweetness has already convinced you it's harmless. This structure explains Fireball's dominance in shot culture. It doesn't require preparation, no glassware discussion, no ice debate, no patience. You open it, pour it, react. The drink does the work for you. That makes it incredibly social. Fireball thrives in loud rooms, cold nights, parking lots before games, in any environment where attention spans are short and confidence needs a boost. But this also explains why whiskey purists reject it instantly. Fireball isn't trying to showcase grain, barrel influence, or balance. It's not interested in subtlety. It's interested in consistency and reaction. Every bottle tastes exactly like the last one. No surprises, no variation. That reliability is the product. Love it or hate it, Fireball delivers the same experience every single time. And that's precisely why it became unavoidable in American drinking culture. 2. Why Fireball blew up in the United States. Fireball didn't rise because Americans suddenly developed refined cinnamon palates. It rose because it understood something fundamental about how people actually drink together. Most drinking moments aren't quiet, thoughtful affairs. They're social, they're impulsive. They reward drinks that are easy to understand and even easier to explain. Fireball fits perfectly into that reality. You don't need to describe it. Everyone already knows what cinnamon candy tastes like. That familiarity lowers the barrier instantly. Even people who claim they hate alcohol know exactly what they're signing up for. Sweet first, heat later, end of story. That clarity matters more than complexity in group settings. Then there's the confidence factor. Fireball feels bold without being intimidating. Ordering it signals fun, not expertise. It says you're here to participate, not evaluate. That makes it ideal for parties, tailgates, ski trips, and college bars where drinks double as social currency. Fireball doesn't slow the room down, it speeds it up. Another reason for its dominance is accessibility. Fireball shows up everywhere. Big liquor stores, small shops, roadside stops, stadium-adjacent coolers. It doesn't ask you to seek it out. It inserts itself into your path. Those tiny bottles weren't just a packaging decision. They were a cultural strategy. Portable, cheap, and unintimidating, they turned Fireball into an impulse buy that didn't require commitment. Most importantly, Fireball became memory associated. People don't remember the tasting notes. They remember the night, the laugh, the bad idea, the unexpected confidence spike. Fireball bonded itself to experiences instead of flavor nuance. Once that happens, a drink stops being evaluated like a beverage and starts functioning like a ritual. At that point, logic rarely wins. If you enjoy honest reviews that explain why popular drinks actually work, hit like and subscribe. No hype, no brand worship, just straight talk about what's in the bottle and why people keep buying it. Now let's talk about the part nobody warns you about. 3. The taste experience. Sweet, loud, and unapologetic. Fireball's flavor profile is intentionally one-dimensional, and that's not a flaw in its world. The sweetness leads every interaction. It coats the tongue immediately, signaling comfort before the alcohol registers. That's why first-time drinkers often say, "That's not as bad as I expected," right before the heat arrives. The cinnamon note isn't subtle or naturalistic. It leans closer to red-hot candy than baking spice. Think artificial warmth rather than woody complexity. That's what makes it divisive. Some people love that exaggerated intensity. Others find it overwhelming after a single sip. Fireball doesn't ease you in. It announces itself at full volume. The heat follows quickly, but it's not sharp. It's broad and lingering. Instead of stinging, it spreads. That warmth sticks around in the chest and throat, long after the sweetness fades. This delayed burn is what gives Fireball its reputation. The sweetness disarms you. The heat reminds you it's still alcohol. Texture matters here too. Fireball feels thicker than standard whiskey, almost syrupy when served warm. That viscosity enhances the sweetness and makes chilled servings noticeably smoother. Temperature changes everything. Cold Fireball feels controlled and candy-like. Room temperature Fireball feels louder, stickier, and more confrontational. This is not a drink built for sipping. It punishes slow pacing. Fireball shines in quick interactions, shots, fast pours, shared reactions. When consumed slowly, the sugar can feel heavy and the heat repetitive. But taken as intended, it delivers exactly what it promises. Immediate flavor, immediate reaction, immediate memory. Whether that's a positive or a regret depends entirely on context. 4. Who Fireball is actually for and who should skip it. Fireball isn't universal, and pretending it should be is where most arguments start. This drink has a very specific audience, and it serves that audience extremely well. It's for people who value experience over nuance, for moments where energy matters more than elegance. Fireball works best for social drinkers who don't want to think too hard, people who dislike bitter flavors, people who want one drink to break the ice, hosts who need something that guarantees a reaction without explanation. It's a shortcut to momentum. That's its strength. It's also ideal for seasonal drinking. Cold weather, outdoor gatherings, late nights. Cinnamon warmth feels intentional when temperatures drop. Fireball feels out of place at quiet dinners or slow conversations. It belongs in motion, noise, laughter, chaos. Who should avoid it? Anyone looking for depth, anyone sensitive to sweetness, anyone who enjoys lingering over a glass and discovering layers. Whiskey traditionalists will find nothing to explore here. Fireball doesn't evolve in the glass. It doesn't reveal hidden notes. What you taste at the start is what you'll taste at the end. There's also a responsibility angle. Fireball's sweetness masks strength. That makes it easy to overconsume quickly, especially in shot-heavy settings. People don't pace themselves with Fireball. They react to it. That's part of the appeal, but it's also the risk. Fireball succeeds because it knows exactly who it's for and never pretends otherwise. It doesn't chase prestige. It chases participation. And in American drinking culture, that might be the most powerful positioning of all. 5. The two Fireballs confusion that broke trust. This is where Fireball's story takes a turn, and for many drinkers, this was the moment curiosity turned into suspicion. On the surface, Fireball looks straightforward. Same dragon logo, same aggressive red label, same promise of cinnamon heat. But depending on where you buy it, you might not be drinking the same product at all. In liquor stores, Fireball is sold as a cinnamon whiskey with higher alcohol content. In gas stations and convenience stores across many states, those familiar mini bottles are something else entirely. Malt-based, lower proof, built to legally bypass liquor laws. To most buyers, that distinction wasn't obvious. The branding didn't scream difference. The shelf placement didn't warn you. The experience felt similar enough that few people questioned it until the internet did what it always does and started reading labels. That discovery triggered backlash because people don't like feeling tricked, especially with something as ritualistic as alcohol. The issue wasn't legality, it was expectation. People thought they were buying the same drink everywhere. Instead, they were getting two versions with different bases, different strengths, and slightly different mouthfeel. What made it worse was that Fireball didn't lose popularity after this came out. Sales barely flinched. That tells you something important. For most consumers, Fireball isn't about purity or production details. It's about the moment. If it still burns, if it still tastes familiar, if it still gets the reaction, still that fracture matters. It created a split audience. One group shrugs and says, "It does the job." The other feels burned by the brand, not the alcohol. That lingering distrust follows Fireball everywhere now. Not enough to kill it, just enough to keep it controversial. 6. How Fireball behaves when you don't shoot it. Here's where opinions start to soften. Fireball's reputation suffers because most people only experience it one way. Fast, warm, loud. But change the conditions, and the drink changes with them. Chilled. Fireball is a different personality entirely. Cold suppresses the sugar and smooths the heat, turning what's normally confrontational into something almost playful. The cinnamon becomes less candy-like and more controlled. The burn still exists, but it's delayed and rounded instead of immediate and sharp. Suddenly, people who swore they hated it start reconsidering. Pouring it over ice shifts things again. Dilution works in Fireball's favor. Water stretches the sweetness, giving the spice more room to breathe. The texture thins out. The heat stops shouting. It doesn't become refined, but it becomes manageable. Drinkable, even. This is where Fireball surprises people. Treated with a little restraint, it stops feeling like a dare and starts functioning like a casual flavored spirit. It pairs better with conversation. It doesn't demand attention every second. That's not how it's marketed, but it's how it performs when you let it. The problem is patience. Fireball isn't designed for slow appreciation, but it rewards it more than people expect. Most drinkers never give it that chance. They associate it with quick decisions and quicker regrets. When consumed differently, it sheds some of that baggage. Fireball will never become elegant, but elegance was never the assignment. Under the right conditions, it becomes less chaotic and more cooperative. That alone explains why so many people who outgrew Fireball still keep a bottle around for specific occasions. 7. Mixing. Fireball, where it actually shines. Fireball's biggest redemption arc happens when it stops being the main character and starts supporting the cast. As a mixer, its flaws turn into assets. Sweetness becomes balance. Heat becomes contrast. Apple cider is the classic example, and for good reason. The natural acidity of apple cuts through the sugar, while cinnamon feels intentional instead of excessive. It tastes seasonal, comforting, and surprisingly cohesive. This isn't a gimmick drink. It's genuinely pleasant, especially in colder months. Ginger-based mixers work for similar reasons. Ginger ale or ginger beer adds sharpness and fizz, lifting Fireball's heavier elements. The spice-on-spice interaction keeps things interesting without overwhelming the palate. Suddenly, the drink feels structured instead of chaotic. Even hot applications change the narrative. A small pour in hot chocolate turns Fireball into dessert territory. Sweet, warming, indulgent. Here, the candy profile makes sense. It stops pretending to be whiskey adjacent and embraces its role as a flavor enhancer. What doesn't work is subtlety. Fireball bulldozes delicate ingredients. Light citrus disappears. Floral notes vanish. If you mix Fireball, the rest of the drink needs backbone, strong flavors, clear identity. This is where Fireball earns respect it rarely gets. Not as a standalone sipper, but as a dependable flavor tool. It does one thing very well and never deviates. For hosts, bartenders, and casual drinkers, that reliability matters. Fireball doesn't ask for creativity. It rewards boldness. 8. Value, availability, and why it keeps winning. Fireball's endurance isn't accidental. It sits at the intersection of price, availability, and predictability. You know what you're getting. You know how it'll make people react. You know someone in the group will say yes to it. It's rarely the cheapest option, but it feels affordable because it delivers instant payoff. One pour produces an experience: laughter, heat, conversation. That perceived value outweighs complexity for most buyers. Availability seals the deal. Fireball is everywhere Americans drink: liquor stores, stadium-adjacent shops, convenience stops on long drives. When options are limited, familiarity wins. Fireball doesn't compete with premium bottles. It competes with indecision. There's also branding stamina. Fireball never tried to clean up its image. It didn't pivot towards sophistication or distance itself from its reputation. It leaned into it. Dragons, heat, chaos. That consistency keeps it culturally relevant, even as trends shift. In a market flooded with flavored spirits that chase novelty, Fireball stays planted. Cinnamon, sweet, burn. End of story. That clarity is powerful. People don't buy Fireball to be surprised. They buy it to recreate a feeling they already understand. And that's why Fireball keeps winning. Not because it's misunderstood, not because it's underrated, but because it knows exactly what it is, and it refuses to apologize for it. 9. The honesty test. Does Fireball say what it is? This is where Fireball invites the fairest criticism, because honesty isn't just about legality, it's about clarity. Fireball passes the law. It struggles with expectations. The branding tells you to expect intensity, heat, and chaos. What it doesn't clearly communicate is how engineered the experience actually is. Most drinkers assume they're buying a whiskey-forward product with added spice. In reality, Fireball is built around flavor first and base spirits second. That difference matters, not because one is better, but because the mental picture changes the experience. When people feel misled, even slightly, they judge more harshly. The fine print is doing a lot of work. Depending on where you buy it, the base can differ, the strength can shift, and the texture can feel subtly altered. For the average buyer, that's invisible. The bottle looks the same, the ritual feels the same. Only later does the realization sink in that not all Fireballs are created equal. This ambiguity erodes trust for a segment of drinkers, especially those who care about what's actually in the glass. Fireball isn't hiding information, but it isn't spotlighting it either. The brand banks on the idea that most people don't want the details. They want the outcome. And for the majority, that gamble works. The product still delivers the heat, the memory still forms, the night still moves forward. But for those who value transparency, Fireball fails the honesty test just enough to remain controversial. It doesn't ruin the brand, it stains it slightly. That tension now lives permanently in Fireball's reputation. Not fatal, not ignorable, just present. And for a drink this loud, even quiet doubts echo. 10. Final verdict. Chaos with intent. Fireball was never meant to be refined, and judging it by those standards misses the point entirely. This is a spirit designed for participation, not reflection. It prioritizes reaction over revelation, familiarity over finesse. When approached on its own terms, it delivers exactly what it promises. The sweetness lowers defenses, the heat creates instant drama, the consistency ensures nobody is confused about what just happened. Fireball doesn't pretend to evolve in the glass. It doesn't ask for patience. It asks for commitment. One decision, one pour, one moment. Where Fireball struggles is in long-term affection. Few people grow closer to it with age. It's often something you revisit, not something you settle into. But that doesn't diminish its role. It simply defines it. Fireball belongs to specific nights, specific seasons, and specific moods. In the end, Fireball succeeds because it understands American drinking culture better than most spirits ever will. People don't always want subtlety. They want something that cuts through noise and creates shared experience instantly. Fireball does that better than almost anything on the shelf. So does it deserve the love? Sometimes. The hate? Also sometimes. What it doesn't deserve is confusion about what it's trying to be. Fireball isn't a mistake, it's a choice. And once you understand that, the entire bottle makes sense. Fireball isn't trying to be elegant, it's trying to be unforgettable. Love it, hate it, or regret it later, it does exactly what it promises. Drop your verdict below. Was Fireball ever your drink or never again?